Hello, everybody. This is Bob Jackson from Walt Disney World's Port Orleans Riverside Resort, giving a big shout out to all his friends listening to the WDW Today podcast. I perform Wednesday through Saturday, and the show starts at 8:30 there at Port Orleans Riverside. Come on out. We'll be saving you a seat.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, June 22nd, 2009, and this is episode 581 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hi, Mike.
Howdy ho, Matt.
And also joining us on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
You took on the jellies, Miniman.
Seize the Nemo, friends.
No.
And on the show today, it's our pleasure to bring back Deb Coma, a senior writer for allears.net and All Ears newsletter. Welcome back, Deb.
Hey, thanks for having me back. It's been a while.
It has, but you know what's really funny is I have this uncanny ability to run into Deb anywhere I go. I've run into you like at the airport without knowing you're there. I've run into you in the park without you knowing that you're there. It's always just forever in the same town together. We just
I forgot about the airport. That's right. That was a while ago. Yeah.
Well, on today's show. Oh, go ahead, Deb.
Oh no, I was just going to say it's bound to happen. We're only down there every other day, every other week. So.
Well, on today's show, we're talking about the Treehouse Villas, and Deb had a chance to actually stay at the Treehouse Villas not too long ago, obviously with them just coming online the beginning of last month. So, Deb, tell us, let's start here with the Treehouse Villas. For those who don't know, let me just quickly kind of give a quick overview. They're located at the Saratoga Springs Resort. They're part of the resort. It's kind of like Animal Kingdom Lodge, where you have Jambo House and Kidani Village. They're two separate resorts inside one major resort umbrella. Same idea. And you may recall the Treehouse Villas from back in the day in the 70s, 80s when they were around, and then they were kind of phased out for a little bit for guest use. But they're back again. And so, Deb, let's talk a little bit about the Treehouse Villas. Can you give us a little bit better description than I did? Tell us a little bit about the unit and give us kind of an overview of the Treehouse Villas.
Sure. Well, there are 60 Treehouse Villas, and they are totally new, actually. They tore down the villas, the tree houses that were there before. Those villas were closed in 2002, I believe it was. And they have just sort of sat there vacant for a while. When they decided to bring them back as part of Saratoga Springs, they tore down the existing structures and completely built new structures. They're modular units, actually, and they have they're sitting on the same pads. They have a slightly smaller footprint than the original villas did. They're 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths, a living room, eating area, full kitchen, very much like a typical Disney Vacation Club unit in the amenities that they have. They're nestled in the woods, lots of trees with Spanish moss and lots of nice, pristine river views, very rustic, lots of wildlife. So they're very pleasant to stay in. I believe they sit about 10 feet off the ground. There's no elevators. You have to walk upstairs to get to them, although there are 4 handicap accessible units that have ramps.
Right.
And let's see, what else can I tell you? They're very, very cool to stay in because they are sort of a unique structure.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the experience of staying at a Treehouse Villa, because it's not a typical hotel room where you have your beds and a bathroom and that's really it. It's very unique in how they are set up.
It is. Like I said, they're sort of set apart. They're in their own area at Saratoga Springs, actually closer down toward downtown Disney. And they sort of conjure up that feeling of, kids' clubhouse in the trees. You have these little private, secluded spaces, and they're very cozy, and but still spacious enough to accommodate a couple families actually. As I said, there are 3 bedrooms. There's a master bedroom, a master suite that has a master bath attached. Then there's a second bedroom with a queen bed. Then there's a third bedroom that has bunk beds, definitely geared toward the kids.
Right.
So I think they're just under 1,100 square feet.
Yep.
And
they sleep 9 people.
They can sleep 9 people because the sofa pulls out to a double bed, and there is a chair that pulls out to a single.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that actually, Deb. It's you're talking obviously theoretically it sleeps 9, and like there's the pullouts and all this. Do you really think could you comfortably sleep 9 people in there, or would you say that's kind of a stretch, or maybe it be sleeps like 5 adults and 4 children, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think that you're right. I think I could see 2 families staying there comfortably, 2 sets of parents and 2 4 kids, I think, would be probably the max that would be comfortable in there, because it's spacious enough, but it's circular, which is kind of an interesting floor plan, and it doesn't go all the way around, so it's sort of blocked off, so you don't have that full circle, and I think if you had a lot more people in there, like say 6 adults or something, it might get a little cramped. Plus, because it has only 2 bathrooms, and the 1 bedroom is really geared to kids. The bunk bedroom is really geared to kids. I couldn't see 2 adults sleeping in there. So,
Deb, how big is the? Did you say there was a master bedroom?
Yes.
How big would you say that master bedroom is?
Let's see. I'm really bad at guesstimating spaces. I would say it's about the same size as the master bedroom in a 2-bedroom DVC unit.
Okay.
I'm really bad at guessing, and I should have it handy, and I thought I had it in front of me here.
18 by 12, maybe? I don't know.
That sounds about right, because there's a queen bed. It's not a king bed. It's a queen bed.
Okay.
There's a desk. There's a chest of drawers. There's a chair. So yeah,
and something you have to keep in mind about the resort is they're actually set on wetlands, and a lot of the design elements are not because someone at Disney was like, let's create a really weird resort with a lot of quirks to it. I mean, really, Disney is kind of placing the resort along to work around the needs of the environment that they're put into, and like you mentioned, there's no elevators because you can't put an elevator into the ground over there because it's obviously, like I mentioned, wetlands. One quirk of it that I'm not a big fan of, but I understand why they did it. There's only 1 parking spot there, and if you have 9 people, that could be an issue.
Well, there's actually there's a couple parking spaces at the entrance to each of the clusters of tree houses. Say you might have 2 tree houses side by side, and there's a long path to get to them. At the end of the path, there may be 3 parking spaces. But if you had several families,
right? But
and it's very tight. It's very tight, also.
Yeah, and that's because the reason why there is just 1 parking spot at each unit is simply because of it's the wetlands. They can't expand. One of the things was the county made Disney not change the original layout of the resort, so they couldn't, add on a few feet of concrete or whatever to make room for it. So it's interesting how they went about everything.
Mm-hmm. They do have regular sized buses looping through the villas, and the road is very narrow. Again, like you said, they really can't. They couldn't put nice broad roads in there, and so it is kind of cramped as far as parking is concerned and driving. It's almost one way, or you can just barely get 2 cars, passing each other, barely. So,
and of course, this is Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to ask. I'm looking at photos and trying to figure out are the bathrooms on the interior of the unit, or are they on the outer edge of the unit?
The master bathroom has windows, and it is on the outer part of the unit. The second bathroom is not. It's dark. It's kind of on the inside. So there's no windows for that. It's more on the inside.
And everything's on 1 level, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe the original tree houses were constructed to have a downstairs living area, like a den type of place. But there's nothing like that. The downstairs at these units are now sort of equipment, electrical and that kind of thing. So,
Deb, the units that have ramps, are there also other specific construction to those units that help those who are challenged?
Yes. Okay. Yes. There's special accommodations throughout the unit. The counters are lower, the cabinets are lower, so that someone who is in a wheelchair can reach them easily. They definitely took that into account throughout the whole unit. The ramps are quite long to get into the tree houses, but they're very sturdy, and they have really sturdy handrails to, if you needed to pull yourself along or whatever. So they're definitely engineered with the disabled in mind.
Absolutely. And of course, this is a Vacation Club resort. It's part of Saratoga Springs. And I believe it's the equivalent, in terms of points needed, it's the equivalent of a 2-bedroom at Saratoga Springs.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So, it's, in the, what they call the adventure season, which would be like, the value season. The points start at 27 points a night. And if you're paying cash in value season, I believe they start at around $545 a night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think you're paying for the unusual surroundings and.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Deb. Who would you recommend the Treehouse Villas to? I mean, what kind of a demographic or a group would you say is probably best suited for staying at the Treehouse Villas in your estimation?
Well, I think young families could really enjoy it, especially if they have young kids and they like to camp and they like to be outdoors a lot, because the setting is really lovely. They've got plantings everywhere specifically to attract butterflies. I saw all different kinds of butterflies, birds, bunnies, snakes, frogs, all kinds of wildlife there. And you're right on the river. It's very peaceful. And it's just, I really think that young families would really enjoy it because it lends itself to wanting to be outdoors and be active and walk around. But I think anybody who is looking for something a little off the beaten path, I think they would also enjoy it because it's very quiet. And it's a very nice locale. Now, for me, I think you would need to have a car if you stayed there. It would just make things much easier. Yeah. The transportation is very good, but it just takes a long time.
Yeah, you've got to take your bus from the Treehouse Villas to Saratoga Springs, and then transfer out if you want to go to one of the parks, obviously.
Exactly. And there is also a boat that would take you back to the carriage house at Saratoga Springs, and then you'd have to transfer. But it's time consuming. So
yeah, they did build it's good that you mentioned that, Deb. There is a new boat dock over there, so you could actually go from Treehouse Villas, you'll stop at Saratoga Springs, but you can actually eventually make your way to downtown Disney.
Right,
which is nice.
Yes, it's a really nice boat ride, and our Treehouse Villa was actually right next to the boat dock, and so it was very convenient. And we took advantage of that and just ran down there and hopped on the boat a couple times. So, and it's very efficient. It's running very regularly. So.
Okay, well, it's a good point though. Rent a car to make your life just a little bit easier, more convenient if you're staying there.
Yes.
What else did you notice from your trip over there, Deb? What were some things that stood out to you from your stay?
Well, I really enjoyed it. I really always wanted to stay there. I think the very first time I went to Disney World, we stayed at the Disney Institute, which is what Saratoga Springs used to be called. Mm-hmm. And I saw the tree houses in the distance, and I thought, how cool. I would love to stay there. And then when they closed, I thought, I'm never going to get my chance. So I was really thrilled to stay there. And we were there on opening day, which was June 1st. So that was very cool to me to sort of have this little dream come true. And as I said, they are very secluded, and it's really makes you feel like you're, in touch with nature, because there is so much greenery and there's so many birds, and it's just very peaceful. So that really struck me, that it really did have that very rustic sort of world apart feel. You'd never know that Disney World theme parks were, just 20 minutes or 15 minutes away. Some of the other things I noticed were the details within the unit. They really tried to conjure up that whole rustic image. Very much reminded me of the Fort Wilderness cabins, because they're very dark inside, and a lot of the furnishings are made to resemble rough-hewn wood, rough logs, things like that. And they're in dark browns and greens and rusts, and sort of that natural kind of decor. So I really liked that. And there were a couple little minor negatives. They use rough tile in the bathrooms, and that kind of hurts your feet when you're walking around with bare feet. So, it's very uneven and rough, and in both bathrooms it was one of those little things. I thought, should have brought slippers or something. But
that's interesting.
Yeah, and we just thought the whole place was a little too dark, because even when you had all the lights on, there's so many trees around, they're blocking the sunlight. So it is a little bit dark in there.
That's interesting.
And there's floor-to-ceiling windows, so you'd think it'd be nice and bright, but the trees block out the light. But
well, I guess it's very, very foresty, I guess, is the way to describe it.
It is, and as I said, it really did remind me of Fort Wilderness, with that whole feel of being away from it all, being kind of quiet, being back to nature. Rustic is the word that just keeps coming back to mind. So, yeah,
absolutely.
But it's very nice, and of course because it's new, everything's very state of the art, kind of cool fixtures in the bathrooms, and the kitchen's well appointed with everything that you could need, and so from that standpoint, it's really nice too.
Yeah, it's there's about 60 units available, 60 Treehouse Villas. It's obviously just opened up as Deb mentioned earlier this month in June, and sleeps up to 9. You've got the master bedroom, a queen, the second bedroom, a queen, third bedroom bunks as mentioned, and in the living room you've got the queen size sleeper sofa and the sleeper chair over there. It's Scopa. Did you ever have a chance to stay in the old Treehouse Villas? I know Deb was talking about it before. Did you ever get a chance to?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, back in 1994, we were about a week away from going down. I had booked 2 weeks at. Was it 2 weeks? I think 2 days. Let's see, was it 2 days? 2 days at the Animal. No, it wasn't 94. 2 days at the Wilderness Lodge and 2 weeks at the Caribbean Beach Resort. And about a week before we went down there, but it wasn't as expensive as it is now. But so I get a call from the resort, and they wanted to upgrade us to the Treehouse Villas, and for the 2 weeks at the same price as the cost of the Caribbean. And so we talked it over, and we decided not to take advantage because the kids just loved the Caribbean Beach Resort. They were comfortable with it. They had been there several times before. They really enjoyed the pool. So even though it would have been quite a vacation, we turned it down. Plus, we just felt, at that time, I think the Disney Institute was around, and it just didn't seem that kind of a Disney atmosphere as it did at the Caribbean. So we turned it down, but we had a shot. We had a chance.
It's interesting. I think what makes the Treehouse Villas stand out quite a bit is again, going back to the idea of the Treehouse Villas. The premise of them is actually very, very cool. Generally speaking, all the other Disney resorts are the same basic idea. They're hotels, themed to something. But this is not just a hotel. This is, like Deb mentioned, this is a circular. First of all, it's circular. It's elevated. Right. It's built around a tree. It's a really cool idea, I think. And I think, for people who, certainly us who have been to Walt Disney World many times, did you feel like, I would think, Deb, that it would be a little refreshing to try something a little bit different, not just the same old stuff. Was that also your reaction?
Absolutely. That was exactly why I was eager to stay there, because it was so different. As you said, it's right nestled in amongst the trees, and if you were driving by, you might, not even see them there because they're very well blended in, and they are really different. They're, like you said, they're elevated, which is kind of cool, and I think it captures. It captured my imagination, but I think kids have that idea of having a tree house. Dad goes and builds or mom builds a house in the trees. For them, some like little clubhouse secret place, and that's kind of what this felt like to me in a way. It was just sort of your own little secret place, and even though there are tree houses next door, or they're spaced appropriately so that you really don't know that you've got neighbors, and you really don't hear anything. You don't, except birds and the wildlife and stuff. So it is very cool. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Well, Deb, we appreciate you coming on here and sharing a lot of the details of your trip over here and your opinions. There's some great information there. Obviously a little pricey, some minor issues with it, but otherwise, a very cool premise. So,
yes, I think
Disney,
so.
I think this is really a great example of, Disney Imagineering. Just separating itself. You know what I mean? It's not more of the same. So
right. Yes, it's thinking out of the box a little bit, and I really do like that. So
very good.
Yes. Thanks.
All right, Deb. Well, thanks very much for coming on to share this information.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
And
it was fun.
And that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at wdwtoday.com. Don't forget to say hi to Newell on there. He always gets lonely at his work and wants to hear your listeners say hello to him. Yeah. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and Deborah Coma, I am Matt Hodgeberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.